Old school RuneScape damage per second calculations are simple yet complicated. They are simple because it's basic addition and multiplication, but they are also complicated due to hidden numbers and weird ass rounding. But let's take a journey into the numbers and figure out just how DPS is calculated in old school RuneScape. There are three main things that need to be calculated to determine your damage per second. The attack roll, which is the combination of your equipment attack bonus and your level in ranged attack or magic. The defense roll, which takes an NPC's defense level, or in the case of you attacking with magic, they use a magic level instead, and then combine it with their style-specific defensive bonuses. You can think of that second stat as the NPC's gear. The last item you need is your max hit, because damage rolls between 0 and your max hit. The average hit on a successful attack will always be half your max hit, excluding some non-standard weapons like the Scythe of Vidr and the Otsmason's Fang. Your range or melee max hit is a combination of strength or range levels and your range/melee strength. For magic, it's a little bit different because it either takes your level and charge staff or a specific spell to get a base max hit, which is then modulated by your gear. But with those three numbers in tow, you can calculate exactly what your DPS is. To show you how to calculate your own DPS and get some insight as to what's important, let's go through an example. For this example, I have my normal range blowpipe setup for Aka's Shadow. This is what I used prior to having a Shadow. All the important information to calculate DPS is in these two screenshots, from the ranged attack of plus 136, the range strength of plus 59, the weapon attack speed of 1.2 seconds. On the NPC side, we also have its defense level of 30, its range defense bonus of plus 60, and knowledge that the invocation is at 300. The first thing we're going to do is calculate the attack roll. As mentioned earlier, it takes your level and equipment stats and combines them together to get one number. But there are some hidden numbers associated with this calculation. As Aka is the third or fourth boss fought in the raid, it's highly likely that you will have access to smelling salts, boosting your range level from 99 to 125. That is what I'm going to call our visible range level. There are 4 ways that the visible level is further modulated that we need to pay attention to: prayer, style bonus, a flat plus 8 bonus, and the void equipment bonus. Prayer bonus is based on the prayer that you're using. Sharp Eye is 5%, Hawk Eye is 10%, Eagle Eye is 15%, and Rigor goes all the way up to 20%. For this example, we're assuming that Rigor is used, so the level is multiplied by 1.2 times. If you end up with a non-integer, then it will need to be rounded down. Luckily, in this case, it gets right to 150. Next up is the style bonus. This refers to the attack style that you have chosen. It provides plus 3 levels if accurate is used, but seeing as 99% of all range combat is done on rapid due to how minimal that boost is, we can safely add 0 here. I also put the melee and magic bonuses in the bottom right corner for non-range DPS calculations. A flat plus 8 is added to your level. This is just for smoothness in the lower levels so that going from level 1 to level 2 doesn't double your accuracy, even though your level is doubled. That leaves us with the last potential augmentation, which is Void. As Range Void provides plus 10% levels to range accuracy, comes in here. But seeing as we aren't using Void in this example, it can be ignored, and it's just a multiple of 1. All in all, that leads to a total effective range attack level of 158. For equipment attack bonus, it's a simpler exercise. We take our range attack of 136 from our gear and simply add 64 to it. That gives us an effective equipment bonus of 200. This again is incorporated for smoothness with lower numbers. That way going from plus 1 to plus 2 range accuracy doesn't actually double your accuracy, and it allows you to actually be able to hit when you have 0 accuracy or below. Now that we have our effective level and effective equipment attack bonus, we can easily calculate the accuracy roll. Just multiply them together for a total of 31,600. The only thing to pay attention to here is gear like the Salve Amulet, Slayer Helm, or mob-specific items like the Dragon Hunter Crossbow, as they will multiply the attack roll. As always, round down if it's not an integer. With our attack roll calculated, let's look at the NPC now. Aka's Shadow has a defense level of 30 and a ranged defense bonus of 60. These numbers need to be modified slightly, but it's much simpler than on the player side. They add plus 9 to the level, bringing it up to 39, and plus 64 to the range bonus, bringing it up to 124. Again, these additions exist to create smoothness in the low numbers. Much like the attack roll, these are multiplied together to create the defensive roll of 4,836. However, The invocation system increases the defensive roll as the invocation increases. The rate is 2% per 5 invocation. At 300 invocation, that means a total of plus 120% increase, which is effectively the same as multiplying the defensive roll by 2.2 times. This brings the roll to 10,639. With both the attack roll and the defensive roll calculated, we can put them together to calculate accuracy. The function of how the game determines if an attack is successful or not comes down to random numbers. The game will pick a random number between 1 and your attack roll, in this case 31,600, and that will be the attack value for that attack. At the same time, it generates a number between 1 and the NPC's defensive roll, and that number will be the defense value for the next attack. If the attack number is higher than the defense number, then the hit succeeds. If not, it fails. This means that the higher the attack roll, the more accurate you will be, and the lower the defensive roll, the more accurate you will be. Common sense. This can be converted into a formula, well, two formulas. The formula on the right is used if the attack roll is lower than the defensive roll, and the formula on the left is used where the attack roll is greater than the defensive roll. As for our example, the attack roll is bigger. We use the one on the left, and plugging in our numbers, we end up with 83.16% accuracy. I'd like to pause for a moment and go over a cheat sheet because I think it illustrates a couple important points. It shows the approximate accuracy when comparing the size of the attack roll to the size of the defensive roll. If they are identical, then it's 50% accuracy. From there, if you were to double the attack roll, you'd only get to 75%, and doubling to 4 times, you'd get to 88%. There is a clear effect of diminishing returns as you get more and more and more accurate, making accuracy boosting items less important. 2 numbers down, 1 to go. Let's calculate the max hit. Magic max hit is really complicated and out of scope of this video, so I'm just going to focus on range and melee for now. It goes through a very similar process where we have to modulate the visible level of 125 to the effective level. For range, the only difference is that Rigor provides plus 23% range strength compared to 20% range accuracy. This means that the multiplier is now 1.23 rather than 1.20. Style bonus is the same, but you can see for melee, the style bonus is now flipped, where aggressive gives plus 3 and accurate gives plus 0, with controlled still giving the same plus 1 it did on the accuracy. For the equipment bonus, it takes the plus 59 range strength from our equipped items, and then 64 is added to it, going up to a total of 123. With both equipment bonus and level calculated, we can combine them with the max hit formula. They're multiplied together, divided by 640, and 0.5 is added at the end of it. At this point, the number is rounded down, which in this case is 31. From there, gear bonuses can be applied, but they aren't relevant in this example, leaving us with a max hit of 31. We now have accuracy, max hit, and attack speed. The final number is only 1 step away. To make this simple, we'll calculate the average damage per hit first, which is simply the accuracy multiplied by the max hit, divided by 2. A total of 12.890. As the pipe will attack every 1.2 seconds, that number is divided by 1.2 to get our DPS of 10.742. Congratulations, you now know how to calculate old school ranged DPS. Before we wrap up the video, there is one more exercise that I want to do, and that is showing the difference that Pegasian boots would provide. As you may have noticed in this setup, I have primordial boots on, which are melee boots providing -1 ranged attack, but Pegasian boots could be brought in to provide more accuracy. The plus 13 swing changes the effective range attack from 200 to 213, a 6.5% increase. This also increases the attack roll by 6.5% to 33,654, but as we are in the portion of diminishing returns, that 6.5 increase only provides 1.2% extra accuracy up to 84.19%. The max hit is unchanged as Pegasians provide no range strength, meaning that the damage per hit and damage per second both went up by 1.2%. So are Pegasians worth bringing? No, they don't provide enough for that one slot. But if the NPC were to be more tanky and the accuracy were to be closer to 50%, a higher portion of that 6.5% would be realized, giving a much bigger DPS increase. Overall, I want you to leave with the understanding of how these are used. You don't necessarily need to calculate your own DPS every single setup. I know I don't do that, that just gets tedious. Use the wiki calculator. But knowing the inputs and how they impact your DPS can help you make quick decisions of, should I stab or slash this boss? Do I need more accuracy? Is it worth hammering or BGSing the boss? Those sort of questions you can know intuitively rather than having to go to a calculator every single time. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this style of video, drop a like or comment down below. This is the first time I'm trying one of these edutainment videos on Old School, and hoping that you like it so we can get into more topics like this. But have a good day, and I'll catch you in the next one.